when that pencil came out and she went jab, I fell over. Hey guys, happy Sunday. Welcome back. It's your girlfriend, Drama Queen. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video are for the people who have finished watching TheGlory Part 2. If you haven't, I'm so sorry. Maybe check out another video because there's going to be lots of spoilers in this one. With that being said, welcome. If you have come closer. Yeah. I've been weird to talk about this drama. If you haven't checked out the part 1, because when the part 1 came out, I made a video about it. You can check that out. Before I start, please, I just got to do my shout outs. Make sure you're liking and subscribing and commenting and doing the works. Yep. And we're going to get into it. Okay. So I'm not going to catch you up on the plot here because a lot of things happened from part 1 to part 2. This video, I want it to be quick. I just want to touch on the things that stood out to me and where I stand. I like part 2 generally better than I like part 1. I mean, I think most people do because part 2 is when all the stuff starts to happen. I thought it was just like perfectly paced, and part 1 I thought was just a bit slower. I don't like that this show was split into 2 parts. Let me just put that here right now. I don't like the whole multiple season things that keep happening with K-dramas. Like, they just unnecessarily split, and I just don't think the break really helps because some people don't even remember what happened in part 1, and now you have to like go watch it. I understand the strategic and whatever business marketing-esque reasoning for it, but as a fan that watches K-dramas, I really don't like that. And I don't think that the split particularly helped TheGlory, if I'm being honest. I think that it should have just been released as one part, but that's just my opinion. I still watched it anyway, didn't I? So my feelings on the love line changed quite a lot. I am now on board with her and Jeong when I wasn't in the first one, and I think because now we got to shed a lot more light on his backstory, especially with his dad and the serial killer. And that, to me, made him feel like a better fit for her. The thing that sold me on this love line, or the episode that sold me on the love line, is when I realized, I think in episode 2 or 3, after Han Do-hyun basically comes in contact with her mother and that whole shebang, and how he was there for her and like basically creating this safe space, this warm environment that she can come to escape all the bullshit. I think that's when I was like, okay, fine, you win. Because up until that point, I had been hoping that Do-hyun, Yeon-jun's husband, would have been the end goal. And let me tell you something. If it were me, he would have been my end goal because he did have the power to do the things that Yeon was doing for her. I guess the main difference is that Yeon was selfless, and as we come to find out, he actually could relate a lot to the turmoil or like the darkness that dong-eun had because of her bullying, whereas I think Ha Do-hyun could not, or he cannot. He never really offered himself as a tool for her revenge either. But that doesn't stop me from, kind of like wishing if it was like a different story, a different plot, stealing Yeon-jun's husband would have been part of the plan, and they would have made an epic pair as well. Now on to the revenge part, because I'm gonna kind of rank the revenges and one I think was like the least harshest to the harshest. The least harshest by far is Lee Sarah. Okay, and I wasn't really expecting her to get like this amazing, super like intense revenge, only because Lee Sarah she was she was a bully by proximity, I think, as a bystander, which is pretty bad. So I'm like, she wasn't really the focus, and for someone who's drugged out all the time, she's not even really aware of what's happening. So her revenge seemed appropriate to me, and the fact that she was the domino card essentially, because the druggy exposure, her going to jail, and then having Yeon betray her was the trigger for her to start betraying people in their group. And she starts off by betraying Yeon. I'll get to Yeon's revenge because I have thoughts on her revenge. But what I loved is that it bled into the revenge or the consequence for Hae-jung. This character, Hae-jung, I think she was annoying. Yeah, annoying is the word I would use. And very naive. very naive, because the moment Jae Jun, which I'll get to, was like, want to marry me, or like, and you know, the way he propositioned her and she just threw her other fiance away, I was like, are you a good girl? Like, what are you seeing, Jae Jun? What is she seeing that I'm not seeing? But she did that, and I mean, it worked to execute the revenge. But I was like, she's so stupid. And then further taunting Lee Sarah at Myung-oh's funeral, I was like, girl, okay. So when that pencil came out and she went jab, I fell over. I said, oh wow. It's definitely the most unexpected of all the revenges, I feel, because I was not expecting her to get stabbed in her throat. And so the fact that led to her losing her voice when she's known for just yapping away, I said, wow, karma is a fun thing, isn't it? So I really liked Hyejun's consequence. And yeah, I would rank her 2 on the harshness scale. Now, the thing about Yeojun's punishment that I didn't... Okay, I'll talk about this. So let's go over what punishment she got. She basically was sentenced to prison for the death of Myung-oh, who we find out she didn't actually really kill. Her husband leaves her. Her mother basically ignores her. Her daughter tells her, I don't want to be like you anymore, which was an epic scene, by the way. So she loses her entire family. She loses her career, and she ends up in jail. Now, those things are all bad things, don't get me wrong. And I'm like, yeah. And she's probably going to always spend the rest of her life in prison wondering, you know, how did she get here? Especially with the taunting that Dong-eun did at the last episode. But it's still not enough. Because, and hear me out here. If we're doing an eye for an eye, like you hurt me, I hurt you the exact same way, Yeon should have had physical scarring at some point in this revenge story. And I thought that would happen several times, and it just never did. Like, when she was put under for the Botox treatment, I thought, wow, that's going to be when they either, you know, something can go wrong in the surgery, like something can go wrong in the treatment, and she could end up with some sores or something. Give her some scars. Because, and the reason I feel strongly about this is because I didn't get the sense that her losing her daughter's love really meant that much, you know, because the drama it showed clips here and there, but I didn't get the sense that she even really like was that attached to her daughter. She was okay with him taking the daughter to leave, not that she had a choice, but like, she didn't seem particularly like, oh my God, you know, about her daughter. Even her husband leaving didn't feel exactly like, oh my God. Even her losing her career, because like the way she even like quit that career was very like cavalier. Yeah, it probably hurt, but the last couple of scenes where we see her in the jail cell looking miserable, was just not enough for me. I was like, oh. Everybody else got exactly what they deserved, like an eye for an eye, what they deserved. Because if all she's getting is being locked up in a prison, I don't know about that. And then now we come to Jae Jun. Okay, no secret, I really, really dislike this character. I think I dislike him even more than Yeon, which is crazy to me, but he just triggers me in all the ways that I don't want to be triggered, and I detested him. I disliked him so much that when they had that arc, and I think the earlier episodes where he was basically the one to beat up the pervert at the school for exposing Yeon, or like for doing the weird things with the... That guy, the teacher, that was a pervert, that one, when he went to go beat him up, I was like, oh, I'm cheering for him, and I don't want to cheer for him. Like, I wish someone else was doing the beating up here. I wish someone else was the one really tossing this guy around. But I guess it was necessary because Yeol got to see him be that unhinged and then, you know, form, I guess, a negative opinion on him. But yeah, I digress. Jae Jun's revenge was also iconic. I loved that it was Hye-jung who brought him down with the eye drops. Yes, I love that for her. I love that Dong-eun didn't even have to do shit here. Like, he just self-destructed on his own. And what I absolutely loved, and it just made me stand even more for Ha Do-young, was the implied, I mean, it was heavily implied that he's the one that pushed Jae Jun to death. and got away with it too. And said, yes, so honey, come on, let's go. And like carried his daughter and dipped out of the country. And I said, he's capable. To me, this proves that he was capable all of this while to be a worthy partner to Dong-eun. It just made me stand him. JAE JUN dropping and dying the way he did, I was like, yeah, we love to see it. We love to see it. I love that everyone got their revenge. Everyone, even the shady cop. Actually, the way he died was hilarious to me because he died by the hands of the henchmen using the advice that he had given them to get rid of a body earlier. Okay, another thing I want to touch on here with the part 2, or just the show in general, was the emphasis they had on just like different parental relationships, or like how parents show their love to their kids. Starting with Dong-eun and her mom. So I actually forgot about her mom. And like when her mom showed up in the second part, I was like, oh no, like I don't know why I thought maybe she would have foresaw that happening and maybe had like some contingency plan in place in case her mom shows up to ruin her life. I mean, I thought the mother was bad in part 1, but in part 2, she was absolutely atrocious. I could not believe how bad they went with the character. And she was screeched a lot. So like, I did not like watching those scenes with the mother. I just wanted that arc to be done and over with. And especially a really powerful scene was when she was confronting her mother in her apartment, and the mother saw her reaction to like fire and fueled it and like basically set the apartment ablaze, and watched her daughter just, you know, cower and was like gleeful about it. So at that scene, I was like, oh, I really can't. I need them to resolve this mother issue like now. And they did. The next episode, she was shipped off to some mental institution, which I thought, I mean, what a way to do. Like, that was the only possible way, I guess, to get rid of the mother, to continue the storyline. And I'm not mad at it, but that's unfortunate. Also, another bad parental relationship we saw was Yeon and her mother. That one I didn't really see coming, because Yeon's mother made a lot of sacrifices, seemingly that seemed like it was for Yeon's sake. But I mean, the way the story has played out, I now think it was more of a reputational thing and more of like preserving herself rather than her daughter. But that was a lot to go through to save your daughter, only for you to then throw your daughter back under the bus. So that character is very interesting to me, because I think she almost saw Yeon as an extension of herself at some point, and then as the story went on, she didn't. And once she didn't, she started to not give a shit anymore. So to watch the degradation of their relationship was satisfying as part of the revenge pertaining to Yeon. Then you have the good example of like parental love that we saw. And for me, this was, I believe her name was Kang Hyeong Nam. And that was a maid that helped her snoop around and collect all the evidence. And that woman, she's such a great actress, is all I could say, because all her scenes had me just choked up. Every time, like, you know, enduring the abuse, but still living for your child and still wanting the best and doing everything you can to get your child out of that situation. Like, she was endeared to me. I don't think I had this level of even awareness about this character up until part 2. I think the actress really got to shine, and I'm glad that she got her resolution in a way that made sense. You know, her daughter was safe. Her husband, get rid of that man. He was gone. And she also did the one thing that I loved the most. She was the only character, the first character, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that gave Yeon the slap that she should have gotten, like, from every character. I honestly feel like everyone in the show should have gotten a chance to slap Yeon at least once. Just one time. Just one time. And she was the one that did it. And Yeon couldn't do shit about it, you know? And like, the amount of times I replayed that slap scene, I was like, oh my gosh, finally someone slaps her. And I'm glad it's this woman. I mean, I wish it could have been Dong-eun, but I'm still glad someone slapped her. So I stand for her and her daughter. And then finally, you have Jeong and his mother. And after, I don't know if it was just me, but after part 1, I wasn't super clear on Yeon's story with the serial killer. In fact, I almost thought that a lot of the struggle, like the mental anguish, was because his dad was a serial killer in part 1. And so when that was cleared up in part 2, well, I don't know if it was just me misunderstanding in part 1, but when the story came to light, it made me realize, oh my gosh, yeah, he truly is suffering quite a bit. And his mother, there's like an unconditional love there. And you can see it. And especially in the final episode when she basically saved Dong-eun's life. And she did it on the account of saving her son's life. So I just think that it was great to see all of these portrayals. You know, it can be bad, but it can also be really, really good. All in all, to say, I absolutely loved part 2. I really like this drama. I think that Song Hye-kyo, everyone acted well. Everyone just did their part, I think. This is like one of the most well-rounded dramas I've seen. And some people might think this drama is overrated at this point because it's very popular. Everyone's talking about it. I don't think it's overrated. But this is like one of the few dramas that I've been able to binge. Like when I tell you I binged the show in one night, because I needed to know. I need to know what was going to happen to these characters. Because if you see all the pain she went through in part 1, you would want blood too. Now I'm never really looking for a new drama because I have a giant backlog of dramas, as you guys are aware. But let me know, what did you guys think of TheGlory part 2? Like, let me know in the comments. Love to hear from you. And join me at the community tab. Also, oh my God, I keep forgetting, but let me plug, I am on TikTok now. Friendly Drama Queen. I'm quite active on there as well. And also I'm on Twitter. I don't have a lot of following there. I basically created that account so you guys can reach me a lot more easily if you want to recommend dramas that I talk about, or if you want to make a list on a type of like dramas to recommend. And it's also here, Friendly Drama _Q. So yeah, you can reach me on those, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.